See, back in the day, I used to go to school dances, football games, things like that. And I would get pulled into the, females needing supposed help because of this or that or whatever. Come to find out, most of the time it was just a drama filled boo-hoo act just to get attention. That the stuff that they were telling people and how they were acting and the scene that they were causing was all because they just wanted attention. So I've got a lot of experience in seeing that. Now, I have seen men, which I don't want to call them, you know, men. They are males. They have not earned the right to be called a man if they're going to act like that. Just like a female. A female does not get the right to be called a lady or even a decent female if she's going to act like that. I call them women. Pretty much, they haven't quite reached that level yet. And you got to watch people. People are very good at lying and manipulating and mirroring good people to get what they want out of other people. Which makes it harder when you find a good person because when they start doing what good people normally do, it makes you nervous because that's what the bad people did to you. But you got to remember that that is a new person, and even though they're capable of doing the same thing, you still got to give them the chance. And you can't hold that against them. They didn't do it, and they shouldn't have to suffer the consequences because somebody else did it. Even though you might be thinking it, and you should possibly let them know it if it's going to be affecting things in your relationship. I mean, if they're going to be like, whoa, or if you're going to have a situation to where, whether you know it or not, you say something that, would upset them because they didn't have those plans, then that's a different scenario. As in, sometimes that happens. You get overthinking and something feels like something that felt that happened before and ended up badly. So you say something about it out of, I call it anxiety because you're getting all worked up. You're waiting for that moment that it's going to prove itself to be bad. And sometimes when it doesn't, you're like, oh, why am I being tricked? Because last time, that's not how it worked out. So you're just going off of what you have experienced. Kind of like if you watch a scary movie and then you watch another scary movie that has pretty much the same buildup, and you're waiting for something to happen because in the other one something happened, but in this one they changed it. You're like, oh man, I thought something was gonna happen. See what I mean? Because of your experience from something else, it taught you to be ready. When it doesn't happen, you're looking for why it didn't happen. There's some people that they grow up around that kind of stuff and they create their own chaos because they're comfortable around chaos. Even though they're in an uproar, fighting, arguing, and all that, they're happy because that's what they're used to, which is weird, but I don't know. That's how chaos theory works. And not everybody that is raised in and around a whole bunch of chaos has that chaos theory. A lot of them are just wanting fucking peace. They don't care anymore. They're tired of the bullshit. They just want to laugh at a TV and pay their bills like they are made to. That's it. And possibly have some type of fun throughout their life. Not be going on shopping sprees and buying cars and wasting money because you want to make sure it's a car that you're paying for so it'll look nice for other people to say, oh, that's a decent car. Get the fuck out of here. Shit like that. None of that shit matters. You drive whatever the hell you're comfortable with driving. If you want to spend twice what the damn thing's worth just so the community looks at you as normal, then you go right ahead. But that's fucking stupid. Well, at least when I get it from a dealership, I know that if anything happens to it, it's covered. No, you don't. You can get a used car, drive it for 2 years, not have a fucking problem with it. You could drive it for 5 to 6 years without having a problem with it if you do your fucking research right. There's people that buy something off the dealership lot or showroom floor that they pay double the price for, they pay fucking higher insurance for, and all it is to when somebody looks up your credit rating, they can say, "Oh wow, you paid this off when they asked you to." Get the fuck out of here. And they end up with all kinds of recalls and issues and blah 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 blah. So I don't want to hear it. You take the same chances with any vehicle. Why? Because it's mechanical. It's moving parts working together to make something happen. I mean, come on. Look what happens when people work as a team. Sometimes they get it right the first time. Let them keep doing that. I guarantee you that teamwork and that team breaks down. It happens all the time. They can only keep it up for so long. Most of the time, when humans become teamwork, it takes a long time before they actually click and work together, which is like a car. You know how much bullshit they go through with testing and all that before they actually say, here's a car we're selling. And then when you get it, that so called team that's working together called a car decides to say, you know what? We ain't working no more over here with the headlight or over here with the radio or over here with the freaking tire sensor or over here with the. I mean, come on. Dodge made vehicles that a bolt from your heater could fall in your engine and destroy your truck. That most people didn't even know about until it destroyed their engine. You think Dodge would have recalled them or given them people a different vehicle or their money back or no? Bitch, buy a new one. I'm over here like, what? If I was them, I would turn in that Dodge vehicle and I would never buy from Dodge again. Just like Ford. Ford paid a lot of money for angles and math to be and science to be done on an engine so that when you go to remove the spark plug, it'll most likely break. Why? So they could sell you a tool. So they deliberately paid for somebody to figure out what angle would be the worst angle to take a spark plug out just so they could make sure you were most likely going to break it. Just so you have to go and buy their tool. Well, Chevy and all them do that too. They do now. Back in the day, they didn't. Ford always has. They're expensive on parts. They think they're the best in the world, and they fucking suck. The only thing they've ever came out with that was decent. Well, I'm sorry, there was three things: the Cobra, the GT40, and the Shelby GT500. That's it. I'm sorry, four. The Roush. I'm sorry, Roush Racing. Whatever they did with that fucking Mustang and the line of Roush Racing vehicles, they did it right. Because that I can't lie there. Those things are nice. I'm talking about sport. Horsepower wise and all that, to own one and run it and see how it functions and mechanically works and operates. Don't know. It could be breaking down every couple of years or months. Who knows? And yes, you got to factor in the owner of it. Of course, if he's going to be real rough on it and it keeps breaking every month, yeah, it's the owner. But if he's, pretty decent with it, or she, and it keeps breaking down and having factory crazy shit happen every month or every, so many months or, so many times a year or every so many years, then yeah, obviously that's a lemon. That's the ones that you kick, like Shia LaBeouf was in Transformers. I'm 90% done with my alterations, my upgrades. And he's out there kicking it. You okay? You need some help? No, I'm good. I laugh, but I've seen mechanics do that shit, especially to a starter. I've seen a couple of them do it to a fuel pump, which I never thought hitting a fuel pump would make it work, but okay. I've seen some crazy stuff. I remember when I was younger and my uncle brought out the gun starter that you can hook to the car and start the car with just pulling the trigger. And he hooked it up real quick under the hood and said, "Hey, watch this," and pulled the trigger and the car started. I said, "What the hell?" I never knew they had one of those until then. Yeah, I didn't know you could do that. All I know is I see him hook this thing up and it looks like, you know, like a gun with a trigger and cords coming off of it. Nobody's in the car, and all of a sudden he just hit the trigger and it started the car up. And I'm just looking at him like, what the fuck did you just do? Who's hiding in that car? And he just started laughing. But come to find out, it's, a starter for the car. You can start it while you're on the outside of it. I thought it was cool shit. Yes, nowadays they have the remote starts and all that, but back then they didn't have remote starts and stuff like that. Not yet. They came out with that shortly after we were looking at that thing. Well, I was. He already had it. He had a whole fucking garage full of shit that we used to tinker around with. Oh yeah, try getting off a construction job at 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, and then going into a garage until 3. You get a shower, you go to bed, you're back up at anywhere from 5:30 to 6:30, and back at the shop by 7. You go out, you do 600 to 700 yards of carpet, come back, rebuild an engine, go to bed, get up, go do it again. Get up, go do it again. 6 days a week. And then Sunday, he surprises you with a full day of working on cars. Yeah, I was 15 and 16 doing this every day. I loved it. It was fun. He made it fucking pain in the ass. It was fun sometimes because he was funny to laugh at doing stupid shit. Especially when he dropped the glue bucket on his foot. Now that was hilarious. I don't know why, because I know that fucking hurt. But dude, I couldn't stop laughing. I even warned him, "Don't open that door." Huh? Whack. Ah! And it was funny too, because it was the very top bucket, and they were stacked perfectly. They weren't leaning or nothing, but when he opened that door, that thing just happened to fall off the top stack and hit right on the bridge of his foot. And it was the edge of the bucket that hit it from the very, very top. Oh, dude. he was hurting for at least about 2.5 months. Yeah, we were at Glen Meadows Retirement Home in Glenarm, Maryland. It's a big, big retirement home. It's actually very nice. But yep, that was hilarious.